Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We review anything and everything. Today we're just taking a look at this planner, calendar, organizer, budget book for 2026. There are actually ones of this going all the way out to 2029 right now, in case that you want to get a head start on those later years, in case you are in the market for a organizer slash planner or something of that sort. So here, just running through what it has per chapter. It starts off with the basic calendar setup on the left side right here. And then on this page on the right, you have monthly goals, where it has your goal list, your obstacle list, and then your notes, just a little side for notes on the bottom. Those goals could be obviously whether it's financial based or whether it's just something like going to the gym, a certain amount of weight you want to lose, maybe address certain conditions going on that you have to address, or whatever the case is. So you could put that there. That could even be things like doctor's appointments that you have to schedule at some point throughout this month, as well as the obstacles, just things you want to overcome. I guess you could say that's similar to goals to a little bit, but it definitely could be, it could be something that you view separately or differently depending on your mindset. Daily routine. Now, obviously, most of the time you're going to know what your daily routine is, but if you're starting a new routine, you're the type of person who likes looking at your monthly book every morning. Maybe you get up every morning, you're like, let me take a look at things just so I know what I got to take care of, every day, day in and day out. Or maybe even the monthly schedule would say something like on Tuesdays, do this, on Mondays, do this. And then you have it kind of written out so you have a sense of the daily routine may not just be for that day, but every different day of the week. So, like I said, you might say morning routine on Mondays, do this, morning routine on Tuesdays, do this, whatever the case is. And it gives you a sense of like a basic routine every day or throughout the week. Here gives you more space. This is like a weekly breakdown of the days of the week. So if in the initial calendar grid box, it's not enough room for you to jot down what you need to jot down, you could do that here if you have large details you need to make for that day. And you've got a few pages of that to do throughout the week, so you can cover the entire month with more detailed notes. And that's not a problem. And then here you have your monthly budget. And so at the top, it says the bills. On the right-hand side, it says the income. Well, the left-hand side says the bills. The right hand says income, and then a little notes area at the bottom. Now, this is great for at the end of the month, you tracking all your expenses for that month, or at least important expenses, along with your income that you made. Whether you have multiple sources, if it's just work, that's one thing, but you might have got a check that week that came from somewhere else, maybe a return from a bank, maybe a government check, maybe some kind of tax return thing, or whatever the case is. You add that up, total for your month, and then your bills and expenses, what you normally pay. This is a good way for you to get a sense of, if you have to start budgeting and doing savings and cutting certain things off, you have an idea when you write things down to look at it in its entirety, gives you a good sense of where your standings are. And then last two pages for this month is just notes. If you have some extra notes you guys have to write down, maybe this could even just be almost like scratch paper for certain calculations maybe you had to do, or something like that weren't like directly within the scheme of the month, but it was just like, okay, maybe I did this, I spent that, this and that, what does that total amount add to? And then maybe you put it into the billing area or something like that. So whatever you might need it for. And then you go into the next month. And at the end of the book area, after you pass December, you have contacts. Now, a lot of people have their phones or whatever the case is, but you never know if you might lose your phone. So if you're one of those people who want to go a little old school and write down some of your core main numbers, maybe not all your contacts, but, family members that maybe you haven't memorized their phone number, your parents, your friends, your siblings, the ones who are really close to you. That way, if you ever lost and you have an emergency, you lost your phone, you can still get a hold of, the main people around you that you need to get a hold of. You have that option here. And obviously, once you put that in there, even though you're no longer using that year, you can always save that and it will always be with you. Just put it in a drawer or something like that. You can always go to it. Then you also have on the page after. You have a couple pages of those, but then afterwards you have password pages, because nowadays a lot of people have a lot of different passwords. And so if you, you know, might happen to forget your password, maybe you wrote it down somewhere on your phone, and it's just kind of a backup. So I thought that was nice. So links are going to just be in the description for you guys to purchase this on Amazon. Just to give you guys a heads up, if you guys purchase this, it really helps out the channel, because this is a product that I have created. So if you guys are in need of this, of a product like this, and you guys are interested, you know, feel free to check that out and pick this up. And I think that if you guys are the type who, you know, like planners and organizers, I designed it myself. Every single page in here, I designed it on a word processing program. I know it's not super sophisticated, but I really like it. Put a lot of work into it, a lot of heart into it in terms of designing it in a way that I felt was beneficial to people who would use this. Because obviously if it was just a basic calendar, well, you have that on your phone. So I added other elements in it, like I said, for budgeting and other elements for organizing and whatnot that would give more purpose to such a book. As always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.